Arriving in Doha, you're greeted by a skyline of futuristic towers that seem to rise straight out of the desert, shimmering against the night sky. The city pulses with energy, its lights reflecting off the calm waters of the Persian Gulf, hinting at a place where tradition and innovation meet. Architectural wonders like the Museum of Islamic Art and the National Museum of Qatar stand as bold statements of the nation's ambition, blending cultural heritage with cutting-edge design. These iconic buildings are more than just landmarks. They are symbols of Qatar's vision for the future. The city's transformation from a quiet outpost to a global hub is on full display. Luxurious hotels, pristine public spaces, and flawless infrastructure line every street. Every corner of Doha seems meticulously planned, offering comfort and convenience at every turn. The stadiums built for the 2022 FIFA World Cup, such as Al Janoub and Lusail, are marvels of design and ambition. These arenas are not just sporting venues, they are testaments to what can be achieved with vision, resources, and relentless determination. For visitors, Qatar is a vision of progress and boundless possibility, a place where the future feels tangible and dreams seem within reach. The city buzzes with optimism, drawing people from all over the world to witness its rapid evolution. But beneath the polished surfaces and gleaming towers lies a hidden foundation, one that is rarely seen by the casual observer. The story of this city is not just about glass and steel, but about the people who made it possible. The story of Qatar's rise is also a story of immense labor and sacrifice. Behind every structure, there are countless hours of hard work, sweat, and perseverance. Millions of migrant workers traveled thousands of miles, leaving their families and homes behind, to build this dream from the ground up. Their journeys are filled with hope, uncertainty, and the promise of a better life. Their hands laid the bricks, welded the steel, and paved the roads that now carry the world to Qatar's doorstep. Every detail of the city bears the mark of their dedication. Their story is the invisible ink in which Qatar's grand narrative is written, a silent force shaping the nation's destiny. It's a reality often overlooked by those who come only to admire the shine, unaware of the human effort that made it all possible. To understand Qatar's true story, we must look beyond the glitter and facade and recognize the hands and hearts that built this modern marvel. The true builders of modern Qatar are not the architects, but men from Nepal, India, the Philippines, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Kenya, and beyond. These are the hands and hearts that have shaped the country's skyline, working tirelessly under the desert sun, often unseen and unrecognized by the world. They leave behind families and familiar lives, driven by the hope of earning enough to secure a better future. Each farewell is heavy with emotion as parents, spouses, and children part ways, not knowing when they'll be reunited. In their home countries, opportunities are scarce, farming is unpredictable, city jobs are limited, and poverty is a constant threat. For many, migration is not a choice, but a necessity, a last hope to break the cycle of hardship. Recruitment agents promise high salaries and good conditions, painting Qatar as a land of opportunity. The dream is sold with glossy brochures and hopeful words, convincing families to take a leap of faith. But the journey begins with debt. Many pay exorbitant recruitment fees, taking out loans that put their families' homes or land at risk. The financial burden is immediate and immense, casting a shadow over their hopes. They arrive in Qatar as debtors, desperate to earn enough to pay back loans before they can send money home. The pressure is constant, and the stakes are high for every family left behind. Their dreams are simple: to open a small shop, start a business, or create a livelihood that will last beyond their years abroad. To pay for a child's education, giving the next generation a chance at a brighter future. Or to build a safe home, a place where their families can feel secure and proud. These are not dreams of luxury, but of dignity and security, basic needs that so many take for granted. They endure years of separation and hardship for these goals, sacrificing birthdays, anniversaries, and daily joys for the promise of a better tomorrow. Their hopes and aspirations are poured into the very concrete and steel of Qatar's new cities and stadiums, their sweat and sacrifice woven into every structure. They are the invisible engine of Qatar's growth, the faces behind the construction whose stories deserve to be seen and heard. For many migrant workers, reality in Qatar is a harsh contrast to the promises made. Grueling shifts stretch for 12 hours or more, often under the punishing desert sun. Despite regulations, heat protections are inconsistently enforced, putting lives at risk. Workers live in overcrowded labor camps far from the city's luxury, 8 or more men to a room, sharing basic facilities. The minimum wage barely covers survival, and wage theft is rampant. Salaries are withheld for months, trapping workers in debt. Fear of losing their job keeps many silent. The psychological toll is immense. Exhaustion, isolation, and constant worry for families back home. Video calls are brief lifelines, but the distance is unbridgeable. The dream of a better life often becomes a relentless grind that erodes hope. For years, the kafala system tied workers' legal status to their employers, giving sponsors immense control. Workers couldn't change jobs or leave the country without permission, creating a massive power imbalance. Passport confiscation was routine, trapping workers and preventing escape from abuse. Complaints about unpaid wages or unsafe conditions could lead to threats of deportation or criminal charges. The system fostered fear and impunity, making it nearly impossible for workers to assert their rights. Having paid huge fees to get the job, quitting meant financial ruin. Many endured hardship, hoping for a rare permission to change jobs or return home. The kafala system resembled modern bonded labor, stripping away basic freedoms. It trapped workers in cycles of debt and exploitation. Only recently have reforms begun to challenge this system. Under intense international scrutiny before the 2022 World Cup, Qatar announced major labor reforms. The requirement for employer permission to change jobs was removed and a minimum wage was introduced, the first in the Gulf. Exit permits for most workers were abolished and a wage protection system was launched to monitor salary payments. On paper, these changes were groundbreaking, but implementation has lagged. Many employers still flout the rules and workers remain vulnerable to threats and bureaucratic hurdles. Language barriers, lack of legal support and fear of retaliation keep many from seeking justice. Recent lawsuits allege that forced labor and wage theft persist. The reforms are a step forward, but the culture of exploitation remains deeply rooted. To truly grasp the immense cost of progress, we must listen to the voices of the workers themselves. Their stories reveal the reality behind the gleaming facades. Kamal, a Nepali worker, arrived in Qatar with dreams of supporting his family, expecting $500 a month. But his contract stated only $250 and his passport was confiscated, leaving him powerless and far from home. For months, Kamal survived only because his roommates shared their food, pooling their meager resources to help each other endure. His family had sold their land to pay his recruitment fee, leaving them with nothing and Kamal trapped in debt, unable to return home. A Filipino worker described being treated as property, forced to work up to 18 hours a day under the relentless sun, unable to leave or even complain about the conditions. These are not isolated stories. They echo across the camps and work sites, shared by thousands who left everything behind for a chance at a better life. Yet within the crowded camps, workers form tight-knit communities, sharing food, money and emotional support, finding comfort in each other's company. "My friends in the camp became my family," said one Indian electrician, describing how these bonds helped him survive the loneliness and hardship. When his son fell seriously ill back home, his friends gave him their entire salary for the month, sacrificing their own needs to help him. This solidarity is a lifeline amid hardship, a testament to the resilience and compassion that flourishes even in the harshest conditions. The emotional toll is constant, years of missed milestones, children growing up on screens, and dreams deferred as families wait for fathers, sons and brothers to return. "I am building a beautiful city for strangers, but I cannot be there to see my own child smile," one worker shared, his voice heavy with longing. Their sacrifice is the hidden labor behind every skyscraper and stadium, an invisible foundation built on resilience, pain and hope for a better tomorrow. The exploitation in Qatar was enabled by a web of corporate interests prioritizing profit over human rights. Major international firms managed World Cup projects, allegedly aware of abuses but failing to act. Lawsuits now seek to hold these corporations accountable for labor violations under their supervision. Meanwhile, PR giants orchestrated campaigns to sanitize Qatar's image, showcasing model accommodations and downplaying abuse. These efforts helped obscure the reality and undermine activists' work. The role of PR in enabling human rights abuses raises profound ethical questions. Protecting the brand often meant concealing suffering. Accountability for all involved is still being sought. With the World Cup over, what legacy remains for the workers who built Qatar's dream? For Qatar, the legacy is clear: modern stadiums and global prestige. For many workers, it's physical and emotional scars, debts, and broken bodies. Some returned home with little to show for years of sacrifice. Others face chronic health issues or lost loved ones. Compensation for injuries or deaths is hard to secure, leaving families in hardship. Yet international pressure forced real legal changes: minimum wage, partial kafala reform, and new awareness. These reforms, if enforced, could improve conditions for future workers and inspire change in the region. The global campaign ensured the human cost can't be ignored. Lawsuits continue the fight for justice and recognition. The true legacy will depend on whether reforms are realized and accountability is achieved. As travelers, we're drawn to beauty and spectacle, but meaning comes from looking deeper. Qatar's story reminds us that every monument has a human cost. Responsible travel means seeking the full picture, asking who built the places we visit and what their lives are like. We can educate ourselves, support fair businesses, and amplify the voices of those fighting for justice. Our choices and awareness matter. Supporting independent journalism and human rights organizations helps keep these stories alive. Sharing what we learn can drive change. The lesson of Qatar's hidden workers is global. Behind every spectacle are stories of hope, struggle, and sacrifice. As we explore the world, let's honor the hands that built it and the justice still owed. By seeing beyond the shine, we become part of a movement for a fairer, more compassionate world. The true beauty of a place lies in recognizing the humanity behind its creation.